Hey, welcome back to the Pick Trail. We got another week of your Hog Hoops report with Kevin McPherson. And Kevin, it's going to be a big week for recruiting. We had a couple people that stopped by Fayetteville yesterday to watch the game when they came by the campus. Who are those people that stopped by the Hill yesterday?
Well, we got a trio of really talented 2024 prospects. All of them ranked the national top 35, CJ. So I'm glad you brought it up. It's a great way to start. Because this is the time of year now that football season's going. We're still waiting on basketball, but you want to get players, if they're going to come in, you want them to see that atmosphere, that game day atmosphere,
Yeah.
Especially when your football program's rolling is in top 10, right? But we look at that class of 2024, and a five-star was in the house. David Castillo, ranked number 8 by ESPN, so a high-level guy. Arkansas has been recruiting him for a while, but he was on an unofficial visit. 6'1" point guard David Castillo from Bartlesville, Oklahoma, two-time gold medal winner with Team USA Basketball, USA Basketball's junior national team. Just helped them win the gold in the U17 World Cup in Spain in July. But he took his first unofficial visit to Arkansas nearly a year ago for the Texas game, another big win at Reynolds Razorback Stadium. And during that unofficial visit, he got his Arkansas scholarship offer at the game. And so he's back a year later. But this is, like I said, a big-time prospect. When you start talking about five stars in Arkansas success, not only landing 3 in the last class, but getting them on campus. We've seen a parade of 5 stars coming in. This is the latest. And kind of not coincidentally, another high-level player right out of here in Little Rock, Parkview High School, famed Parkview, is Dallas Slim Thomas, the 6'8" wing. Man, he's long and tall, but he was on campus again for his second visit, unofficial visit, rated top number 33 by ESPN, so a high-level 4-star. But he also took his first unofficial visit the same Texas game that David Castillo, who we just talked about, did, and they became friends, and so it was no coincidence they took their second unofficial visit on the same, for the same game this time around. Of course, Thomas has held his Arkansas offer for a while as well. But both of those young men got in early on Saturday, got in the photo shoot with Eric Melsman and some of the other coaches and their family members, got over to watch Razorback, the Hoop Hogs practice. We're going to talk about them in a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think that's really key when you're talking about making the most of your day, because you got that big football game at night. Otherwise wouldn't be so big with an FCS opponent, except it was a pretty good opponent, and one big reason was Bobby Petrino's return. So there was a lot going on, a lot of festive atmosphere, and you want those recruits on campus. And I'm not going to leave out the third guy. I said there was a trio. This young man's also ranked 30th by ESPN, so I told you all 3 were top 35. But it's Jalen Shelley, big wing, 6'7", 6'8", out of Frisco, Texas. We know Arkansas has been hitting that Texas recruiting hard. So another talented player, versatile guy with that length and size and some of the skill. He got in just a bit after the first 2 did. Got to go to practice, jumped in the photo shoot before they moved over to the game. But I talked to all 3 for post-visit, follow-up, and all of them were really impressed. The word love and amazing and some of the other, adjectives to describe the experience stood out to me because all 3 were highly impressed. I asked them about practice, and what kept coming back to me, and always does, the first things they say is intense, fast-paced, and pay attention to detail. And if you're going to go fast-paced, then you better lock into those details, because that's the only way you're going to get better. And we're going to talk more about that, like I said. But the recruits catch they notice that stuff. They want to get better. They're looking at schools that are going to help them get better. And so Arkansas entertaining those 3 guys. Now, look, we got a little bit more news on this visit weekend on who didn't come in, CJ, because as you know, we've talked about it. We reported it. The 2 2023 big men, the duo from Denver, Bay Fall, the 5-star national top 15, Asani Diop, ESPN has him number 57, high-level 4-star. Both of them 6'10", both play at accelerated schools in Denver. Both had set their official visits for this weekend that we're in. They've rescheduled that now. And they've done it for the weekend. And we've actually talked about this, that something like that might happen, but they're now targeting that September 30 through October 2nd weekend when Arkansas hosts Alabama. So if we thought last night's atmosphere was big, it's likely to be, crazier. And I don't see how it can't be for that weekend. And so, those young men have been on campus, by the way. They came for unofficial visits when Arkansas beat Kentucky back in February, had a really nice unofficial visit. Both of them have Arkansas among their final schools. We know Layden Blocker's off the board, the 5-star from Little Rock at Sunrise Christian Academy, the only player so far for 2023, a guard. These are two versatile, complementary big men. One's more of an interior. The other one can play facing up, talk about it all the time. But Arkansas still has high expectations to get them on campus for that official visit. Like I said, it's been bumped out a couple of weeks, but that's fast approaching. And so when you look at recruiting, we've just now been talking about on-campus visits. September 9th, Arkansas's coaching staff has hit the road, man. They've been out when the NCAA opened up the recruiting period again. The coaches got out and have been in force in Texas. We talk about the 5-star in that 2023 class, Ron Holland. They've made him a priority. I've been out to see him multiple times, including Eric Musselman a couple of times. You look at 24 with guys like Dink Pate, another big guard. You look at Trey Johnson, the number 1 player in that 2024 class, all in Texas. Wesley Yates in 2023. Arkansas still trying to get him on for an official visit. Just wrapped up a visit to Texas. But you've got multiple players that when you hit the road, I mean, Musselman and Gus Argenal were in Central Arkansas on Wednesday. They hit 3 practices. We talked about Dallas Thomas on that unofficial visit yesterday. They were in to see him at Parkview. A little later in the day, it was Little Rock Central and K. Honor Boateng, class of 2024, who's been climbing the charts in recruiting. I think he's going to end up being a 5-star, 6'5" wing at Little Rock Central. He had 2 unofficial visits to Arkansas in a span of 5 weeks back in the summer. But Arkansas has been out to see him a lot over the past year. So all these young men have offers. And then they went later in the day to Little Rock Christian Academy to see Layden Blocker's younger brother, Landrum Blocker, bigger guard, more of a wing, 6'5", strong, athletic, his perimeter skills starting to emerge. And then they laid eyes on 2026 guard Jashon Jj Andrews, just an incoming freshman, already 6'5". He looks, his body looks ready for the college game right now as a 14-year-old. It's insane. But the bloodlines are there. His mom was a star in college basketball, and his dad, the Hog legend, offensive lineman, Sean Andrews, All-American, big-time NFL player, Pro Bowler, and, an All-Pro for many years with the Philadelphia Eagles. But, the genetics are there for JJ to be a super athlete, and to see him doing it in basketball. I love football too, but it's dear to my heart that he's taking it to the hardwood, CJ. But again, just to kind of wrap it all up, when you look at on-campus visits and now coaches going back out on the road, there's not a day that goes by that they're not making the most of that. And so it's very active right now, even though football season's getting thick. Basketball and recruiting right now, it's really intense, especially for the Arkansas Razorbacks.
They picked the best weekend to come. They're top 3 in the top 35. I mean, Missouri State, they were going back and forth all game long. They couldn't have picked a better weekend. Of course, Eric Musselman was there along with his wife, his daughter, his son. Everybody was taking pictures there. And that takes us back to the former halls and them getting to practice and them getting those shots up. And Nick Smith Jr. coming to the games, taking pictures, videos, the football games, top 10 team in the country. All those guys coming to football games, but they're still getting ready for this season coming up pretty soon. Talk about those former Hogs in this season coming up.
Yeah, and I mean they're current Hogs, and you're right. They support the program, man. Our photographer at Hogville, John James, sent me some good shots of some of the players, and it's so many multiple sporting events outside of basketball they attend, and I think that's really good to support the program. It's good to see them out there. I tweeted out some of those photos yesterday, but those guys are busy. They practice early in the day, as we mentioned. And I talked to you about I shared some of the talking points from the recruits about the intensity and the attention to detail and some of that stuff. Arkansas is about to wrap it up, man, on these limited practices. It's about to go full steam ahead with full practices. The season starts. First games start November 7th. That's a Monday. And so that's really not that far away. And so they have to ramp things up. Practice time is going to, increase. We know they got those 10 full practices back in July for that early to mid-August trip they took overseas for the 4-0 run through Europe. So they get back to heavier business once it picks up. But, I continue to hear, that Arkansas, again, working on defense. Obviously, they're going to do that. With 11 newcomers, so much about it's communication, being the right position, the right time, footwork, communication. So you continue to drill down on that. Arkansas has been superb nationally on defense, but not from beginning of season to end. They had to fix things, right, at least midway. And so that's why you constantly work on it, no matter how good you looked at times in Europe. And certainly there were times when they had some bad stretches, working on passing. Their shooting hasn't been what they want it to be from three. That has been a problem area. But when you start talking about, Musselman put out a highlight. He does that from time to time from practice. And one of them, the one he put out last week, was Anthony Black taking the ball full court, I guess. It picks up when he crosses half court. And he's got the defender. He's gotten inside his defender, and he uses his body as a shield with a stop and go, a little hesitation move to kind of pinball off of him and get all the way down the lane for a dunk. And no one challenged him once he went to the rim. And so you saw two good things there. When I tweeted out, I said he used both the shield and the cape. I should have said he used the shield and the club, because he went to that rim with vengeance, but he used his body as a shield. So that was a smart play. So you get little looks into the program when they put those videos out and what players are doing and playing to their strengths. And I thought that was an exceptional play. But, some guys that have been, a guy like Jalen Graham, who was quiet in Europe, we haven't heard a lot about him. I reported recently they had a dominant effort in practice one day. I'm starting to hear he's starting to be a little bit more consistent in picking things up. So keep an eye on Jalen Graham, the 6'9" transfer from Arizona State, second team All Pac-12 last year. And I think Barry Dunning, who showed well, the true freshman out of Alabama, showed well not only in Europe, but I think he continues to be consistent in practice. So another positive point to talk about in terms of players in their development. CJ, I'm getting choked up.
You're fine, man. I'm looking forward to him. Trevor Brazile, Nick Smith Jr., Anthony Black, like you said, he bring those highlights out. I love seeing those highlights come out just to see give us a quick update on what the Razorbacks are doing. And the fans stop me all the time and say, look, I love this Hogs football team, but I'm looking forward to this Razorback basketball season. And it's coming fast, coming at you fast already. It's almost October already, September going along the way. Look, Kevin, I appreciate you stopping by, man.
Allergies are having their way today, CJ, getting their revenge, I guess.
Hey, allergies had me last week.
Good to be with you, my friend.
I totally get it.
Good to be with you.
Thanks, man. Look, we got more Pick Trail coming up after the break.